sandwiched between acquire and monetize is being powered by Delta DNA. Delta DNA is a powerful segmentation and player engagement platform which takes the player through the game with better retentions and revenue outcomes. The feature set includes LTV and retention prediction, user segmentation, A/B testing, in-game, out-of-game messaging, data mining, and so on and so forth. This talk evening, I'm going to take 20 minutes to talk a little bit about the game industry, especially people in the games industry that are concerned about live ops and starting to think about their game economies differently. How they combine ads and in-app purchase into a blended economy. So like how are you going to balance your retention and monetization and given players a grip playing experience with the Delta DNA history. We've had over 10 years thinking about these issues and these challenges for game developers. And I think it's amazing how the industry has transformed itself, to be very honest, not really using data at all in terms of understanding the player experience, to really the data has moved to the heart of the cultures of how game developers and publishers are successful. And we've seen this transformation through the start of history within Unity and now at Delta DNA platform. So let's go, initially the industry was concerned about dashboards and KPI. When the App Store was created, mobile gaming was getting started and free-to-play was becoming a thing. There was a big effort on dashboards and understanding key metrics. And actually at that time, there was a search for what metrics required to be able to run your business and make the company successful. The reality, however, as we all know, these metrics tell you good things about your game, but they also tell you about your problems. And you need to go deeper into the data to solve those problems. At Delta DNA platform, we saw the first stages of that in terms of people using player segmentation, behavioral segments to really understand the player experience, getting an understanding of players' competency, their momentum, their progression. So basically, you're starting to think about how we manage those experiences for individual players and then start to think about personalization, moving from one size fits all to a personalized experience for all players, regardless of their competency and their game playing styles. So player segmentation is then transformed into A/B testing and optimization. A lot of hard work during the soft launch in the game balancing, understanding how features were consumed, and then lately post-launch into CRM churn prevention offers and ad strategies. More recently, especially in the last couple of years, we've seen that our customers actually adopt more sophisticated techniques and live ops within the segmentation at the heart of it, but also thinking about blended economies, as in-app purchase living as one within ecosystem and treating a player first approach in terms of how the economy is presented to players and what combinations of ads and offers are going to unlock experiences from different types of players. So we've seen all this for more than a decade in the gaming industry. I've been a part of it, so fortunate. And hence, I wanted to, take this talk to give you some of the insights and thoughts on best practices that may help you in your next phase of game development. So if you see this chart, today, I really, if you can see this, how ads are now being played, to give economies in a new ways, data and analytics. A/B testing has now been applied to the ad part of the economy, as it has been only for churn prevention and in-app purchase strategies for years. We think a lot about first conversion. We think a lot about repeats. We think how the ads are being placed. AIs are now being deployed on segmented approach to really help improve income. But also importantly, churn prevention ads are now as a retention mechanics. Whereas before there was obviously concern by ads being a retention issue, this has totally transformed the last 2 years by applying segmentation and therefore to your ad strategies. The rewards of that are being dramatic by genre, you can see the ads are now very significant part of the game economy. Some genres obviously have higher than others, but we have worked with the clients taking their games from 20% of ad income to actually 60% of ad income, making sure that the progress, that the approach to ads is neither cautious or aggressive, but just right in terms of deploying ad strategies for segmented specific segments. Based on those players' appetite for ads and the consumption pattern, that we see that from the data, and we started to look at this, it get more and more interesting. And I would like to share the same in more detail with you. So now we can see that those who spend significantly more have watched an ad before that first conversion event. So average first spend on the left hand side chart, typically the left side, if you see, it's an average ad spend, and on the right hand side, it's a LTV. That's average first spend, and then the right side is LTV. So when you see this, it says that from the average first spend on the left hand chart goes from 1.56 cents if you haven't watched an ad before that first spend, to $11.04 if you have watched more than 2 ads per session before that first spend as a commitment. And engagement of the players to the game is improved by personalized ad strategy, and that engagement levels through ad consumption is really an indicator of likelihood of players to commit to the game economy in the various ways. From an in-app purchase, ads can be used, especially rewarded ads, to give players an idea of how a spend can improve again, and so on. It's an interesting concept to give players a view of high store spend can change that game experience by using rewarded video and rewarded ads to unlock that experience. Prior to that first purchase, we see the same pattern when we look at the lifetime value. The no ads watched has a lifetime value of $2.90 compared to $15.09 for over 2 ads per session watched by a user. This is a sample of games across Delta DNA dataset, and we can obviously split this down by genre, but these results are so dramatic, and it can give you a food for thought in terms of how ads and IAPs purchase can be mutually supportive in the game economy. Now we can, we started to look more bit deeper, and we looked at a conversion, and we looked at a day 28 retention. And those that watch an ad, are more likely to convert. You have already seen that in the previous chart, but it's really quite dramatic on the left-hand table. You can see no ads watched on day 28. Conversion is about 6.1%. Is compared to greater than 2 ads watched is 17.7%. So that is 3x, right, in terms of conversion rate. For players that are super engaged with the ads, super engaged with the game, and they see the value exchange in terms of ads and in-app purchase, improving their gameplay dramatically. It's a little bit of more nuanced outcome when we actually look at the right-hand side of the data. Day 28, there is definitely a sweet spot in this data, where we are seeing a day 28 retention maxing when the ad consumption is just less than 1 per session. So as usual, this data is telling us that balancing is an act. Being too cautious in ads is bad. Being too aggressive in ads is also bad. The way to unlock blockers is to get the balance right through you can do clever segmentation, thinking players first, and ads and in-app purchase in the blended economy. But we would urge developers and our game publishers to start their ad strategies early and learn from the strategy responses so that we can build that into the player management in future, in our future sessions of the gameplay. Now let's think about, when we think about in-app purchase, we know that it's all about the first month gameplay. 95% of conversions happen within the same first 1 month. What we encourage our clients and the ones who are using Delta DNA right now, thinking about income messaging, in-game messaging and our targeted CRM is every time we pick up an action with a player, we learn from it. So if the offers are declined, we understand and evaluate why the offer was declined. What is it? Was it a wrong bundle? Was it a wrong timing? Was it a wrong targeting? If we think through different interventions, we got the right offer to the right players and it is still declined. Then we learn from that. We can discuss, then increase the ad density on the basis of the clients that have been made in the offers in it. That's in-app purchase offers. So this is where it becomes really interesting. The blended approach actually becomes a feedback loop as a player's decline. Our first four in-app purchase, we can adjust the ad strategy, the ad density to understand and to respond to that information coming from the players. In this way, the LTVs are sustained, but also the player experience is enhanced as well as we are actually listening to the player and responding to the player's feedback. So start your ad strategy early, learn from it, be responsive to what the players are telling you to make as they go and progresses through the game. Now this is more interesting. This, looking at how the ad support and in-app purchasing is becoming a little bit more detailed, this time looking from the ARPU and ARPU perspective. We can see that across a good ecosystem for the sample things that are in our study, revenues for paying players grew by almost 80% from 19 cents to 34 cents. This, I should say, is on a sample of games where previously there were no ads and then Unity Ads was selected as an ad partner. And our ad strategy was implemented in collaboration with our developer partners and our publisher operations team. So implementing an ad strategy in the game that previously did not have, has improved the ARPU by 80%. And on the right hand side, you can see there's a very small decline in in-app purchase revenue. But that small decline in an in-app purchase revenue is more than made up for the contribution that ads mix to the game. And the game is much more successful overall. So this shows that for games without ads, there are good, sustainable, and the strong ways to implement ad strategies that are player focused and self-learning, which eventually will help you increase your ARPU and ARPU. Now, and really what is helping this level of sophistication? So our tools and techniques that are created and deployed by the companies with us, like Delta DNA platform. For example, our dynamic ad placement tool, which is a part of CRM toolkit, is focused on balancing the density of ad frequency and the placement of ads in a dynamic way to the individual segments of players. For example, on a role-playing game, what we did, we actually implemented in combination with their development partners, multiple surfacing points for ads and campaigns were used to shoot the points where rewarded videos was positive in terms of the playing experience. Maybe at the end of the mission, maybe where there was a fail at the mission or succession of the fail, at the end of the mission, when players are a bit slow to level up, these are the good points at which to be able to dynamically adjust your ad strategy for different segments of players and using different parameters to understand the ad strategy and adjust the ad and adjust the same. Like in-app purchase spend means that the ads are intelligent, they are well balanced. The frequency is right, and the setup that we had for this particular game using dynamic ad placement tool was an ability to target individual segment of players in terms of ad consumption based on calculations of their ad appetite. So really you can see the reality of how the sophistication of our ad strategy now is on par with our in-app purchase strategy, and our retention strategies. We dynamically can adjust an A/B test or ad strategies for different segments, different reward levels, different frequencies of ads, and optimize a strategy against in-app purchase strategy in one place. So now I'll finish with six tips for all of you in terms of blended economy, where really only getting started on this topic, and there's a lot more to come in future from our perspective. In terms of the sort of the content, I would urge all of you to keep in touch with our blogs and our content on our website at Unity and also at Delta DNA. So what are these? But the sort of the things that we think are advantages in terms of thinking about a blended economy is one, to use a segmentation and automation to deliver optimal balance of ads and in-app purchase offering. Testing and learning quickly, understanding and evaluating the campaigns and in-app purchase campaigns. It could be a repeat spend campaigns, ad campaigns, etc. Third would be is to apply all the science and rigor to be applied to ads, as it has been for in-app purchase. Who want to balance out rewards to improve LTV is much a consideration, not to over-reward players in terms of that ad consumption. The next is we can also use rewards to add a touch of space to keep players out of the boredom and anxiety, sometimes especially early in the gameplay if it's adding to the experience, and players will stick around for longer because you are unlocking parts of the game and otherwise would not get access to. And the last is manage progression. Think about balancing a cautious approach with an aggressive approach. Use skill downs, understand how different segments respond to ad and their appetite for ads, and make sure that it is optimized against retention and LTV. Also use on currency rewards such as boost, unlocks that sometimes are much more favorable way of encouraging players to spend because they get an understanding of benefits of spending in the store before they actually make that purchase and start to treat ads as a retention mechanic as well as monetization mechanic with a different approach for different player segments. So that's a real quick tour through what we see as a state of art in terms of sophistication that our developer and publisher clients are applying to ads as a part of blended economy. And I hope this is really helpful for all of you. I can just start taking the questions here and before I actually end any of it. So the question here is from Tanveer Ahmed. For mediation with Unity, Facebook, and Google, what are the top performing ad networks for monetization and UA in India? Are there examples of games that are doing paid UA in Unity ads in an ROI positive manner in India? So that's a very good question. Thank you, Tanveer. So I would say I don't want to rate the ad networks in terms of who are best or who are not best or something. For us, in terms of you should choose the ad networks which will help you to improvise your in-game, improvise your LTV, your game economy. Unity ads is one of, is considered to be as one of the favored partner in terms of ad network monetization. So you can use Unity ads. There are tons and thousands of developers across the globe and also in India using Unity ads for paid acquisition to generate ROI in any of the positive ways. And we've seen success stories, many, and we've actually built a lot of support for all the game developers community across our monetization platform. There's a second question which comes from Andy, which says that when we integrate Delta DNA, do you guys provide a strategist who can guide us from the analytics standpoint? Yes, that's so true. So as I mentioned in my talk as well, that we do have publisher operations teams. We have client partners across the globe who are actually helping us to kind of settle down all kind of your ad strategies, your game engagement strategies, and we help you to grow all this across our genres and so on. So yes, we do provide all kinds of support during your Delta DNA journey.
Cool. Great. Farheen, there seems to be another question that was asked. Would playable ads make sense from a product standpoint, or would that help in the retention, or people should still focus on the rewarded videos?
No, that's correct. That's a very good point. So playable ads still consist of a good chunk of percentage in terms of retention. That's again come to the point that how you are balancing your ads within the game. So if you are balancing your ads in a proper way, where you are actually trying to focus on the strategies where the playables can be better and where the rewarded can be placed. So you're not cannibalizing any of your in-app purchase or rewarded ads, and make sure if you place it properly, it still gives a good percentage, because the ad revenues that comes from playables are much higher as compared to still the rewarded and other ad units. Yes.
Brilliant. And you guys have this interesting platform, Delta DNA, which seems to be there's a lot of handholding especially for the developers who are trying, or small studios or small time studios and all, right? And there was this interesting question that came in, like talking about how this helps from the strategy standpoint. Like, there is a small studio, and they're emerging and they're trying to build this product. Will your Delta DNA team come and say that, hey guys, look, you might actually like to make this small change into the way you're doing the product, or you might like to have this kind of an event to track this kind of a behavior? So would there be some form of hand-holding that does happen from your end, saying to take the user along, or to take the studio along?
Yes, definitely. So one, as I mentioned, we have publisher operations team, which will be
Right.
there from 24/7 with you. Like, they are like your extra added resource for your company, who will take you from start till the end of your journey. And the second, we also have a deep consulting and insights team who are actually working on the consulting side. So obviously, there are certain sections of it is paid, of course, but we still have free support on 24/7. But we do have consulting and insights team with the data analysts, game designers, and we've worked a lot of case studies. For example, People Fun, Future Play, and there's so many. Like, if you could just go across and see the kind of case studies we have built with the help of this consulting insight. So there's a lot of them. For indies, we do have support on the tech side, plus on the publisher operations team. And of course, the client managers like us are always available globally across to support. Yeah.
Great. And Farheen, that was insightful, because as a studio, I mean, we are a small studio ourselves too, and a lot of times what happens, you guys would have a better view of how things are working across the world and what are the things that are very key for in terms of tracking some performance KPIs, and something like that. A guidance coming in from you guys would really help us taking that along. So great. I mean, this is very insightful. Thank you so much. And I'm sure a bunch of people who have been attending here were able to get a lot of information. And guys, go and check that Unity ads. And Farheen is here. She lives in India, and and reach out to her anytime, and she will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So.
Yeah, I think there's a question which says that will this be put on YouTube also? So we'll definitely try, and of course in the Unity channels and others. You guys can reach out to me directly at Farheen@unity3d.com, and I'll be more than happy to assist any of you anytime. Keep us informed. Keep cheer up, motivated. Let make India grow again. Get some more big games in the charts, and we are more than happy to make you all successful. Thank you so much, Imtiaz, for setting this up, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Farheen, for having us. Yeah, we can go to the backstage now.
Okay, thank you, guys.